All right. Good morning, Wildcats. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. We're going to begin our session. I want to thank you for your attention and being willing to come and hear and share what our distinguished alums have to talk about this morning. In just a few short months, I will be handing you a diploma and congratulating you as recent graduates and graduates of Evanston Township High School. There will be 5,000 people in attendance at Welsh Ryan Arena. And you are going to be joining the ranks of 60,000 alumni from this high school who are doing incredible things across the world. This fall semester, you have already had the start of some of your last homecoming, if you went, right? Your last competitive competitions, athletic competitions, fine arts programs, and you all know as well as I do, the second semester is going to go by really fast, and you're going to have more of your last. So it's a big deal, right, to graduate from one of the finest high schools in the country. Some will say the finest high school in the country, because ETHS is the gold standard of public education. Believe it or not, we are, right? And hopefully that you will carry the love and pride of being from Evanston and being from this high school for the rest of your life. And I'm really happy and to congratulate all of you on that. And so this morning, this program is just about that. When you graduate from ETHS, what are you gonna do, right? But the point is, whatever you decide to do, right, follow your heart, follow your passion, right? And do what you can to give back. And you're going to hear from some of our distinguished alums for this particular class and cohort of distinguished alums, and they're going to share a little bit about themselves and what they have done. Without any further ado, though, I'm going to invite up to the podium Mr. David Futransky, who is a 1969 alum of Evanston Township High School. He is also, give him a round of applause. He is also what we call our Senior Director of Alumni Relations and Institutional Advancement. And guess what, y'all? He is retiring in May. So this is his last go-round with ETHS after 25 years here at the district and then some. So give a warm welcome to Mr. Futransky. He's going to come and share some things with you.
Good morning, seniors. Oh, you guys can do a little better than that. Good morning. Much better, much better. As Dr. Campbell said, this is my 25th year working at ETHS. Contrary to belief, I wasn't here as a student 100 years ago when the building opened up, but I've been working at Evanston High School half my life. Were involved at ETHS. First as a student, 1965 to 69. When my kids were students between 1991 and 1997. And the last 25 years I've been privileged to work here, teaching in the history department and then working with a great team to work with our foundation and our alumni to support you in as many ways as we can. This award has been given for 23 years. Dr. Campbell was right on the number of 60,000. That's our living alumni. There are about 20,000 others who have passed away over the years. The district goes back to 1883, 141 years. District moved into the main buildings here in 1924. So we've been at this location for a long time, and we appreciate all of you for helping us to celebrate the centennial of 100 years at Church and Dodge. There's a committee that was involved in selecting the people who are sitting behind me. It was made up of students, alumni, both current and former, teachers, faculty, staff, and some community leaders. The committee read through close to 60 biographies and statements by the candidates and chose 5. And those 5 are with us today. So I'd like them to be introduced to you, and I'd like you to hear from both a student and them. So the first person I'm going to call up is Eve Daniels.
Good morning, class of 2025. My name is Eve Daniels. I recently had a conversation with a 1984 graduate of this school and have been inspired by the positive impact he has made in his community. His name is Tony Mason. He, like myself, attended Kingsley Elementary School and Haven Middle School. At ETHS, he was very involved in athletics, specifically basketball, and served as co-captain of the 1984 state runner-up team, which went undefeated until losing in the finals. Many of Mr. Mason's teammates have stated that his leadership played a huge part in their success as a team and positively influenced them long after graduation. Mr. Mason obtained his bachelor's and master's at Miami University in Ohio. Although he enjoyed his experience at college, it was a big adjustment to go from a very diverse high school to a predominantly white college. When sharing this with his older brother, Rennie, who faced similar challenges while attending Yale, he advised Tony to get a girlfriend and play some basketball, and that the rest would work itself out. And for the most part, it did. Early in his career, Mr. Mason held numerous positions in the field of recreational sports at the collegiate level. His role as a leader in ETHS pushed him to dedicate the majority of his career to initiatives designed to support the residents of Indianapolis. He served as executive director of the Circle City Classic for 8 years, building upon the Classic's tradition of staging one of the nation's largest Black college football events. This generated money for scholarships, particularly in partnership with HBCUs. In 2012, he served as Senior VP of the Indianapolis Super Bowl Host Committee. He was responsible for various community outreach programs such as neighborhood redevelopment, educational programs, environmental initiatives, and more. Currently, he serves as a president and CEO of the Indianapolis Urban League. The IUL is a nonprofit organization that aims to assist African Americans and other minorities in order to achieve social and economic equality. In large part, through Mr. Mason's advocacy and dedicated efforts throughout his career, he helped secure a $100 million grant to the IUL, which is being used to improve the quality of life of African Americans in Indianapolis by addressing racial and economic inequities in education, employment, and housing. This initiative has resulted in providing hunger relief for over 300,000 people, as well as rental assistance for over 50,000 people every year. Tony credits ETHS for providing him with the catalyst to get to where he is today. At this school, he learned the values of hard work, sportsmanship, and establishing connections within the community. He carries these values with him and exemplifies the leadership and empathy that the Distinguished Alumni Award was designed to recognize. I am honored to welcome Mr. Tony Mason.
Thank you, Eve, for that introduction. Please give her a big round of applause. And I appreciate it because she could be doing a whole lot of other things instead of spending time with us old folks up here. I also want to thank the Alumni Association and David Frutransky, Superintendent Campbell, for this honor and recognition. You know, it seems like it was just yesterday, but I have to take a step back and remember it's been 40 years since I sat where you were sitting. And I want to tell you this, in this moment, yes, enjoy your senior year. Have a good time, finish strong. But I also want to share with you, don't take for granted this experience that you've been blessed with here at ETHS. I've been fortunate over the years to be able to reflect on this experience. And when you look around this room, look at how diverse we are in this room. It's not that way everywhere you go in the universe. And not that way in terms of being able to socialize and interact and to hang out together. And so that has served me well throughout my life and in the various jobs and roles that I've been in, because I've had to engage in the community and engage with people who don't look like me, may not have the same faith as I do, and may not have the same background. The world is a diverse place, and so you're going to be well prepared to deal with that. Don't take for granted the amazing teaching and education that you've gotten from here at ETHS, because when some of you go off to college or the military or whatever it is you plan to do, you're going to encounter people who were not as fortunate as you. They didn't get the same quality of teaching and education. They didn't have the opportunity to have teachers and coaches who truly, truly cared about them as a person. And then just let me say this, the character, work ethic, all of those things are going to be so important, because that's what's going to sustain you as well as your faith through times when you deal with obstacles, challenges, and barriers. Life is real. You all are getting ready to adult. Is that what y'all say, adulting or whatever it is? It's getting ready to get real for you. The expectations will change. Your parents are going to want you to complete college. And you'll need to understand, whatever it is, job training, college, military, you need to succeed not only for you, but for your family. And some of you how many of you have siblings? Show of hands. Younger siblings, they're watching you. So you will have to pick yourself off the ground, because you will have failures. But remember, those are learning moments and opportunities to grow. And so again, I'm just proud to be, a member of this alumni of this incredible high school, because it really is one of the best in the country. I attempted to bring some of my education leaders from Indianapolis here, and they were somewhat resistant, because the last thing I think some people want to be shown is maybe how short they really are in terms of what they're offering and providing students. So enjoy your senior year, be proud of yourselves, look forward to the future, and remember, once you make it, once you get on, give back to this high school. I know I got a few bricks somewhere, David, out in the yard. Give back to the high school, because I see the amazing things that have happened at this school since I've graduated, the facilities, the opportunities, the programs, and that can only be sustained if you make a contribution. But do your best to continue to make a difference in life and to be a blessing to the community. Thank you, and again, I am truly, truly honored.
Hi, class of 2025. My name is Jay Cochran, and I am proud to have this opportunity to introduce Alvin Keith. This is a man whose story inspired me with his determination and passion to strive for better. Alvin Keith graduated in 1969 and spent a large portion of his high school career excelling in sports, such as track, basketball, and football, while still succeeding in his academics. From a young age, Alvin felt he had to compete against the other few black kids in his school to be as good as them, if not better. This led to his competitive nature. But when he got to ETHS, his perspective on how school should be changed forever. ETHS was an eye-opener for him. The facilities, teachers, coaches, and staff were friendly, and students helped him create friendly competition between classmates and allowed him to grow comfortable and confident in a culturally diverse environment. ETHS taught him how to manage technical, regulation, and large organizations. His career and many other life lessons with him through his ever-growing career. When Alvin graduated from the University of Illinois with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering in 1979, he used his degree to become skilled in the design of multiple parts and terms of a refining process unit. This led to many supervisory positions responsible for portions of the larger operation. His rise at Amoco Oil Company was hard-won and well-deserved. He served 31 years at Amoco, and while he was there, he continued to climb the company ladder. During the last 6 years, he was president of Amoco Pipeline Company with 900 employees and $1 billion in revenue. By 2004, he retired from AMCO as the highest-ranking African-American executive. During his career, Alvin continued to give back to the community. He served as a board member of NASCME, the National Acting Council for Minorities in Engineering. This organization collaborated with compatible entities to give resources, scholarships, and opportunities to minorities in college who deserve a voice trying to have a career in engineering and computer science. Please welcome to the stage Alvin Keith.
Thank you, Jada, for that very generous introduction. I want to also thank Dr. Campbell for the work he's done here in administering this school, the resources, the very large physical plant that is here, and my classmate, David Futransky, the great job that he's done in running the Alumni Association and recognizing so many of the alumni here at ETHS. This is an occasion for me to just think about my blessings. I'm blessed with a beautiful wife. It's given me two gorgeous, accomplished daughters, a great son-in-law, and two beautiful, perfect grandchildren. You know, in order to be successful, you in some cases have to be lucky. And I, of course, was lucky with the parents that I had. You, generally speaking, can't choose your parents. But I was born to my father, also a recipient of this distinction, who was a world-class athlete. And I gained a little bit from him. My mother was a devout Catholic. She made sure that we went to Catholic school, which back in the 1950s in Evanston gave me the kind of education that was really lacking to other Fifth Ward kids. That kind of fundamental start in education is what advantage I had in coming here to ETHS. And at ETHS, the student body, the teachers, the educators, the other professionals here, along with this tremendous physical plant, provides the resources for success. They're certainly fundamental to my success. It's hard for me to talk just looking at my family. I'm so proud of them. So my word to the seniors, and you have one more year, but it's never too late to start. Use these resources. Use your teachers, your counselors, but most importantly, use your fellow students. Compete with them every day. Try to be smarter than they are. Try to work harder than they do. Compete in the classroom, compete on the athletic field. Every day you try to get better, you do get better. It's not about winning. You don't have to win, you don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to be the best, you just have to compete. And if you learn how to compete, you will find success. That's what worked for me, that will work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keith. Hello and good morning, class of 2025. My name is Roe Salan, and it is my great honor to introduce award-winning landscape architect, Mr. Scott Byron, a member of ETHS's class of 1971. Mr. Byron is the CEO of his company, Scott Byron & Co., a landscape architecture, construction, and maintenance firm that does both residential and public work like school gardens and playgrounds. His company has won numerous awards, and he has led multiple high-profile projects, including the design and execution of the landscaping at the Water Tower Place in Chicago and a 700-acre private island in the Bahamas. He has also done much work at the Chicago Botanical Gardens, including the English Walled Garden, which attracts over 1.5 million yearly visitors. At the gardens, he pioneered accessibility statewide. What seems commonplace now was a big deal in the late 80s and early 90s, getting rid of steps and other obstacles to create an environment that is both beautiful and accessible for all. His work at the gardens led to Illinois law being changed to include more accessible materials and design. Mr. Byron has served as president and board member of the Illinois Landscape Contractor Association, and he has been on the board of the U of I Department of Landscape Architecture. He has also created multiple scholarships, both nationally and at UIUC. But this success was a long journey, one that started here at ETHS. While a fairly average student, it was here where he learned how to work and be successful in a diverse and challenging environment. Then it was at UIUC where Scott became a serious and focused student, primarily due to his first landscape architecture class where he was told, "Look left, look right, only one of you will graduate." The professor overestimated. In a class of 100 students, only 8, including Scott, graduated. After a couple of years working at another firm, when denied a pay raise, Scott went out on his own and created what is now the immensely successful Scott Byron & Co. Scott's advice to students is what got him to where he is today. Work hard and take the opportunities around you. Surround yourself with mentors who push you to be better. And most importantly, find something you believe in and stick with it. So without further ado, here's Mr. Scott Byron.
Good morning. Great to see you. Last time I was in this room, I was graduating in 1971, walking out that door with my folks thinking, well, at least he graduated. So thank you, David. Thank you, Dr. Carroll. My folks who died young would be smiling at the moment to think that I'm standing in front of here and not going to detention, but I think I'm here more humbled to be with the presence of such incredible people in the list in this group. I don't know if I deserve to be here, but if the story of being at Evanston and being an absolute mediocre average student, but having and developing great friends and great supports and mentors who, for whatever reason, when I needed them, were supportive, then I think that's the message I can give to the seniors here, that everyone's not a star, everyone isn't a great athlete, for sure. Everyone's not going to make all the theaters. I tried out for theater, didn't make it. I tried out for swimming, didn't make, a whole slew of things. But when you needed it, this school was here for me. I can remember taking drafting, which I don't recommend to anybody to take. I don't even know if you do it anymore, but I remember sitting in this class going, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. And so, I think when I went to Illinois and I went to that class and they said only one of us were going to graduate, I said for once I was going to be that person, and that inspiration, plus my friends who I still have friends who I went to high school with. When I went to start my business, which I shouldn't have done, I had no money, I had no business experience, I had no clients, which, not a great recipe for success, but I had the most supportive group of friends, which I went to high school with in college, who said, you know what, go for it. And that's my message, is that go for it when it's right. Make sure that if you find your passion, just follow it, whatever it is. Mine's absolutely non-traditional, but it really is incredible when it works and the people around you, and then give back. I'm really proud of our company. We have something called Hearts in Harmony that every year all of our employees, and we have 300 or so of them, go back and we've rebuilt play fields, we've rebuilt school, we've created gardens, we've done food giveaways, we rebuilt houses, because there's nothing better than that giving back when you know you needed help, and I'm absolutely someone who needed help. So if that's the story that you can take away with, I wish you all the best of luck. Can't imagine I'm standing here looking out at the auditorium rather than being in the auditorium looking here listening. So I'm hope that helps, and I'm sure you're all going to have an incredible life, and this is an incredible institution, and thank you all for allowing me to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, class of 2025. My name is Isabella Paraquelis, and I'd like to introduce the next honoree, Chief Shanita Stewart. Class of 1992 graduate, she is now the current Chief of Police of Evanston. Throughout her time at ETHS, Ms. Stewart was a strong student athlete, playing on the girls' varsity basketball team all 4 years, and even going on to play college basketball. She found that ETHS provided her with encouragement from all different areas, where she received the kind of support she couldn't find elsewhere. When I spoke to Chief Stewart, she told me that one of her biggest supporters was her basketball coach, Cynthia Bumbry. She attests to her coach not only helping her build skills in basketball, but strengthening her character, confidence, teamwork, and beyond. Coach Bumbry's emphasis on hard work and consistency helped shape Ms. Stewart's perspective on life. She also spoke well of Mr. Jeff Taggart, a former reading teacher at ETHS. Even when there were certain programs she couldn't afford, like taking an SAT prep class that was offered, he went above and beyond to ensure that she still had access to such opportunities. Shortly after graduating from ETHS, there was a family tragedy. This caused Ms. Stewart to shift her focus in school from basketball to criminal justice in hopes of not only achieving justice for her cousin, but preventing others from falling into a similar situation. In 1997, she graduated from Illinois State University with a degree in criminal justice, marking the beginning of what would be Ms. Stewart's over 25-year career in law enforcement. She was valedictorian of her Police Academy class in 1999 and was recognized as Police Officer of the Year in both 2000 and 2005. In 2022, she became the first Black and female police chief of Evanston and now teaches classes at the Police Academy, volunteers all around Illinois, and continues to serve as our chief. Throughout her whole career, Chief Stewart has remained extremely proud of the time she spent in ETHS and keeps the values she learned here close to her, reflecting them in her work, her goals, and her achievements. She has consistently given back to the community through her work in law enforcement, her endless volunteer service, and her dedication to our city. The Distinguished Alumni Committee recognizes graduates of ETHS who exemplify the tradition of excellence fostered here, and Chief Stewart has truly exceeded the expectations. So it is my honor to welcome Chief Shanita Stewart.
One more hand for Izzy. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as Chief of Police for the City of Evanston. Growing up here in Evanston, attending ETHS shaped who I am today. It was here that I learned the values of education, the importance of commitment, and the power of leadership. These three pillars, education, commitment, and leadership, are the keys to unlocking the doors of your future. Education is more than just grades and tests. It's preparing yourself to face challenges in the world and the knowledge and understanding of how to navigate that. ETH gave me the tools to think critically, work collaboratively, and aim high. The second pillar, commitment. Success doesn't come overnight. It takes the perseverance and dedication to your goals, whether you dream of becoming a doctor, a lawyer, an artist, or even yet the chief of police. The road won't be easy. There will be obstacles, but it's your commitment, your vision that will keep you moving forward. Lastly, leadership. Leadership isn't just about titles or position. It's about making a positive impact Whatever you choose to do, wherever you are, it's important to serve others and make decisions that uplift your community. I came back to Evanston because I love this city. I came back to Evanston because I wanted to come home and give back to so much that I got growing up here. In closing, the students sitting here today, remember that your time here at TTH is a foundation for your future. Embrace your education, stay committed to your dreams, and lead with integrity and purpose. One day you'll look back, as I do now, and see just how much this school and this community has shaped you. Thank you, and once again, I appreciate it.
Hello, fellow seniors. My name is Isabela Bernal. I'm excited and extremely honored to introduce Steve Newman, an exceptional individual whose dedication to community and education has created a great impact in the lives of many. Born and raised in Evanston, Mr. Newman graduated ETHS in 1986. He described himself as a pretty nondescript student and started to come of age his junior and senior year, especially due to classroom teachers like Phil Roden and Kurt Crotty. After graduation, he attended the University of Michigan and the University of Chicago, where he earned a master's in arts of teaching secondary English. Mr. Newman taught at ETHS for 20 years, where he co-founded and led Senior Studies, an interdisciplinary course that blended English, history, and service learning. Mr. Newman's contributions extend beyond the classroom. With his passion for working with young people, he envisioned a way to support students beyond high school. In 2011, he founded Evanston Scholars, a nonprofit organization that empowers first-generation, low-income, and students of color to and through college. The program initially began as a side nonprofit project with 10 students and has now grown into a complete 6-year program that guides about 250 scholars annually. From his time as a teen coordinator at the YMCA and leading outdoor education at Camp Echo, to making a difference and changing the lives of many, including myself, Steve has always had an affinity for working with teens. As an Evanston scholar, I can say with confidence that this program reaches all of its goals and has helped me reach what I believed to be impossible. Having immigrant parents and being a first-generation student, the college process was a daunting task, as my support and guidance was limited. With the immense support of Evanston Scholars, I now await college decision letters and am excited to pursue a higher education. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Steve Newman.
All right, thank you, Isabella, for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. Thanks to the committee and everybody involved for making today such a great event. Look forward to the rest of the day. I'm very honored and humbled to be selected and to be standing here. And to be honest, I don't think I'm the right person to necessarily provide any wisdom or advice. But what I thought might be more appropriate is to share some aspects of my life thus far. Because for me, I like hearing other people's stories and to see what I can take away from those as much about the process as about the product. So I'd ask all of you to take a few seconds just to close your eyes and quickly think of your greatest educational experience ever. Your greatest educational experience ever. Okay, whatever comes top to mind, hold that thought. And this was a prompt that we used at the beginning of an education unit for the senior studies class I co-taught here for 20 years. And for this unit, we spent 4 weeks discussing the purposes of education. We explored various school models and curriculums. Culminating project for that was students to design their own ideal school. So this opening prompt of greatest educational experience was intended to spark an examination about how we should all think about the purpose of education. I would join in with my students and reflect on my own best educational experiences. I would think about the student-run restaurant facilitated by my 5th grade teacher, Judy Newton, and reminisce about the provocative discussions on freedom in Phil Roden's 11th grade history class. At the same time, I would reflect on my own experiences outside the classroom, where I went outside my comfort zone and learned mostly by doing. from experiences, people, and situations. I thought about the experiences of leading adventure trips, kayaking for 4 weeks in Alaska, hiking in the Wind River Range in Wyoming, and biking down the coast of Oregon, just to name a few. And for me, those were experiential moments were extremely transformative. Basically, my educational journey has been an exciting balance from learning both inside and outside the classroom. And my journey started from growing up in Evanston, going to King Lab, then coming of age in high school. ETHS, which is truly the only place where people come from all corners of the community on a daily basis, definitely fosters an environment where all students can thrive. As an ETHS student, as Isabella mentioned, I wasn't overly involved in extracurriculars. And in fact, in our yearbooks, back then, what they listed next to that gorgeous picture back there was just our name and then the activities. And for me, it was Steve Newman, baseball, 1-2. That's it, nothing more, pretty nondescript. But most importantly, ETHS was where I figured out a certain mindset. I walked out of here with a mindset that not just focused on what I do, but about how I do things. A mindset to stay curious and ask questions, always say yes to opportunities, be reflective about what worked and what can be better, believe in others and believe in myself, and to make it happen. ETHS was a critical springboard for pursuing my interest and for how I wanted to navigate the world. And without ETHS, I never would have been influenced to work at Camp Echo, where I learned how to lead, guide, and counsel teens, where I learned about identifying people's needs and developing compassion, where I learned about the true value of working hard until the job is done, and where I found a reassuring belief in others and myself. And without ETHS, I never would have come back to teach here in this community. After various jobs working with teenagers, I knew at 26 that I wanted to be a teacher, specifically because I liked the longer arc of relationships with teens. And a magnetic pull brought me back here to home here in Evanston. Luckily, I was hired at ETHS for my first teaching job. And every day, every year, I didn't just teach, but I learned. While teaching, I learned how to grapple with various texts, how to find better ways to empower students to write more effectively, and how to view all aspects of the world with a different lens, thanks to dynamic, amazing students like you all. I learned how to deal with complex and wonderful challenges of every day, every class period being different, and trying to figure out the individualized needs of each student in order to weave those together into a community of learners. And most of all, I learned that senior studies, an interdisciplinary course that fosters experiential learning, combined with rigor and personalization, is fundamentally the way learning should be. Without ETHS, I never would have started Evanston Scholars. My curiosity led to exploring why so many students, especially students from my classroom and from my community, weren't finishing college once they started, which ultimately led to me starting the nonprofit called Evanston Scholars. And what I learned from teaching here at ETHS was my blueprint for the foundation. Start with the why, to address the inequity of access to secondary education, because college completion gives young people critical access to economic mobility and opportunities. Pinpoint the what. Focus on students with the greatest barriers for college completion, mostly first-generation, low-income, and students of color. And set up a support system for students to not just go to college, but through college. Then implement the how. As Isabella stated, we started with 10 students in 2011. Like teaching, I had to have a lesson plan, but be willing to adapt. I had to make mistakes, learn from them, stay humble, stay hungry, and make it happen. And what I didn't quite know at the time, but I figured out later, is that my mindset, which was formed here at ETHS, and all my skills, experiences, relationships, have come together to help build this foundation, this network, and to create impact. It's an impact where 80% of our scholars have graduated from college within 6 years, which is drastically higher than national rates, and where we have served over 420 students thus far in 13 years. There's a lot of scholars out there, right? Scholars, do I hear you out there? You could have done better, but you weren't ready. That's okay. Those numbers of impact represent the power of a true community effort. Finally, many people to say, follow your passion. But what if you don't know what your passion is? For me, I prefer to follow my interests, and from that, my passions have emerged. I was born in this community, work here, live here, raise my family here, this community and its people are where my passion lies. Along my journey, I've been fortunate enough to receive some very nice honors, but no honors are sweeter than home honors. Thank you very much for this award.
First of all, thank you for being one of the best audiences I have ever had in this assembly. You guys deserve a round of applause for the attention you paid to the group up here. Would you all join me in congratulating again our 5 distinguished alumni for 2024? And there are 5 students up on this stage who deserve your applause. They all did an amazing job. You may have noticed a couple of threads running through things today. For some reason, this was a year of basketball. I don't know if Coach Ellis or Coach Johnson's in here, but we do know that Tony, Alvin, and Shanita will be meeting with the boys and girls varsity teams before practice today and talk with them about some of their experiences in basketball at ETHS. Part of what means so much to them and to our program over the years is 2 of the coaches, Herb Williams, who coached the boys 84 team, Cynthia Bumbury, who coached the 92 team. Is Bum here? Cynthia Bumbury is here. You guys welcome Coach Bumbury. It's hard. I don't know if any of you have been up on this stage, but looking out, you just see light. There's a lot of light shining up here. Cynthia, welcome back. It's great to see you. There's another distinguished alumni who's a classmate of mine standing out there who I can't miss, and that's Don Michelin. How many of you know Coach Don Michelin? We used to call him the Flash back in 1969. He ran track. He still is involved with track. He and his staff, I think, are the collectively oldest group of track coaches in at least America, if not the world. And I have a story about that, because Don, in so many ways, epitomizes Evanston. Don Michelin, a couple of weeks ago, had a street named for him. That's an incredibly big deal. I know there are a lot of honorary streets, but Don lives on the block he grew up on. He lives on the block where his father and his grandfather built houses. And Don has been a part of this community for his entire life. I was with Don a couple of weeks ago. It happened to be that weekend. It was that Friday afternoon. And I saw something. And I knew it was there. And I hoped it was there about ETHS. But Don Michelin is the epitome of caring. We were sitting by door 3. I was trying to get out a few minutes before the crowd. But I saw Don sitting there, and as we would normally do when we see each other, we'd stop and talk for a few minutes, check up on our families, see how everything was doing. And the bell rang. And people started, some of you I'm sure started out of door 3 on a Friday afternoon. Some of you were there because more than 50, I think 75 or so of you, particularly black men, stopped, put out their fist for a fist bump or their hand, and said, "Have a good weekend, Coach." Now that doesn't happen in most places. That doesn't happen in many schools. The message to me, and I was the beneficiary of sitting there because these same people who I don't know gave me a fist bump or shook my hand. And in their minds, it was, he's sitting there talking to Coach Michelin. He must be okay, whether they knew if I was or not. but they showed that level of respect. And for you students who were in that group, thank you. But what I saw was a distinguished alum, a many year coach, a friend, a neighbor, delivering the story of ETHS, saying to students, I care about you. I'm here on a Friday afternoon. I don't have to be here. I don't have a track meet or a cross-country meet. As a matter of fact, it was the first time he wasn't downstate in, I think, 40 years for the cross-country championships. But he was making a statement to students, some on the track team, some in the neighborhood, some who are just part of ETHS, and was saying, we care about you. I care about you. The track program cares about you. The school cares about you. And the community cares about you. There are 5 distinguished alumni sitting behind me that we could say the same thing about. They're both a product of that caring and giving of that caring. So I want to thank you again for being such a wonderful group and for letting me share for a moment something about my friend Don Michelin. I hope you'll join me in thanking him for being who he is.